there's only wrong clothes. I would like to hear you say that. Just, because I like to hear the accent. I like to hear it authentically stated. Just like I asked Andy Santelli one time to say, this is CNN, because he's got that good voice. Okay, so here are the colors. If your test proves that your system fails, then it's bad news, but it's good news for the tester because I've proven something, and now I can get out of here, and I've earned my money because I've taught you something that you really desperately needed to know, whether you wanted to hear it or not, you needed to know it. And of course, complete information, there's no inconclusiveness about that at all. And the more difficult requirement assumptions, if your test passes, then it proves your test, your system's going to be okay. The places you want to stay out of are this cell and this cell. So let's give an example. Here's a little girl that my wife and I made about 3.5 years ago. And she thinks she can do it. So can she lift 15 pounds? This is the question that we want to ask. And let's just make up a scenario. The reason that we want to know if she can lift 15 pounds is because there's a thing over there that we need a child to be able to operate. And in order to operate that thing, we haven't really measured it, but it kind of looks like about 15 pounds worth of effort is going to be required to operate that thing. So I don't know. We're making guns in China. I don't know what we're doing with a child and lifting 15 pounds, but just go along with it. Okay. Not a very popular joke. Thank you very much. And I'm very disappointed too. If you can see down here, I did a really excellent job. This is one of my first Photoshop experiences. We took a picture in the garage, and I did a really particularly good job in the toe area. And then the little magnetic lasso thing, it was very nicely done. I wish you could see it. You would be just delighted. Okay, with that notwithstanding, imagine that our testing environment is somewhat restricted in that we only have 10-pound weights hanging around. We think she needs to lift 15, so we want to test for that, but we don't have a 15-pound weight. We don't have 5-pound weights. We only have 2 10-pound weights. So it's kind of like Neil Gunther was talking about yesterday when he said, we'd like to be able, I think he said like, we'd like to be able to determine whether our curve's going to break here or there or someplace else, but we don't have enough load runner licenses to simulate enough users to cause our system to go to breaking. So that's a great example of, we want to do the right test, but we can't because we don't have some resource. Here we don't have the critical resource of a 5-pound dumbbell. So we can't execute a 15-pound test, but we can test for 10 and we can test for 20. So let's see what happens if we do these 2 tests. If we do the 10-pound test, then obviously if she fails, then she can't lift 15. Because if you can't lift 10, you also can't lift 15. That's the principle of logical absorption on the real number line. I figured that'd go over flat. Okay. If she passes, though, if she can lift 10, then so what? She can lift 10. Can she lift 15? That's what we really wanted to know. So there's an inconclusive result here. If we do the 20-pound test and she passes, then yay, she can do it. If she can lift 20, she can lift 15. Again, logical absorption. But if she fails, then the test is inconclusive. She can't lift 20, so what? She doesn't need to lift 20. So here's the matrix. If we get 10-pound fail, then we've got a true, we know something. If we get a 10-pound succeed, then we don't know anything. Except, yeah, she can lift 10. If she can lift 20, then we know she can do the 15. And if she can't lift 20, we really haven't proven anything. The test we want to do is in the middle row, but we can't do that test because we don't have the resources. Everybody okay? All right. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? You want to avoid the inconclusive test, but what if she lifts 10, but she can't lift 20? And by the way, this go, no-go matrix here, we called it at the place that I'm talking about, the order entry place, we called it the pizza chart. Because as we drop red circles on the thing, it looked like we're throwing pepperoni on the pizza. A Campese square pizza, those of you who are from Dallas and know what such a thing is. For the rest of you, I want you to imagine a pizza roughly in the shape of a rectangle. So we do the 2 tests and we find out we don't know anything and we don't know anything. Now what? Oh, and by the way, this is going to happen anytime her real true capacity is anywhere between 10 inclusive and 20 exclusive. Right? If her real capacity is 17, for example, then we're going to see these results. She can lift 10 and not 20. But if her real capacity is 17, then, hey, she's not going to have a problem with 15. If her real capacity is 11, we're going to see the same test results. Can lift 10, can't lift 20. The problem is, we don't know if her capacity is 11 or 17 or 19.9 or 10.2. because there's a whole range of unknownness there. So you've got to ask the question, how important is it that we know exactly that she can lift 15 pounds? And if it's really, really, really important, then we probably need to go to Academy Sporting Goods store and buy a 5-pound weight and do the right test. Buy the extra licenses for local. Whatever it is we're missing, we're probably not going to do that. If it's really, really, really important. If it's not that important, and maybe it's not that important because, you know, come to think of it, maybe lifting 15 pounds is not the right question. We never really measured how hard it is to turn that lever we need her to turn. Maybe it's really 18. So maybe the right test is 20, and if she fails a 20 test, then we should not let her perform that task. So you might come to grips with a sentiment like this. Hey, you know what? If she really can't reliably lift 20 pounds, then let's call it a no-go. Because we're really not sure if 15 was the right question to ask to begin with. This kind of thing happens all the time. The problem is there's going to be some sales rep in the room that goes, damn it, no, we can't call it a no-go because I need this deal. Oh, need this deal this quarter. I don't want to leave something critical out that makes you think that I haven't seen this before. I want to know if you're authentic. So really it's a question of what's the right margin of safety. And by the way, we had her picking up weights. No, never mind. You notice she didn't have any shoes on. I made a big deal out of that. Well, we put a 15-pound weight because we actually have a 15-pound weight. And she ducks down like this, and we said, okay, I want you to pretend to lift this. And I want you to go like that. And my older boy goes, pretend you're pooping, Catherine. and she goes like this. She goes, and holds it. And we're like, no, toes. And I'm like diving under, trying to make sure she doesn't drop the thing. But 15 for her is no sweat, by the way. But what's the right margin of safety? And I've got a couple of observations that are really not substantiated, except they're anecdotes. But one observation is that in software, it seems like it's ironically repetitive that long-term peaks tend to be about 3 times short-term peaks. In other words, if your day-to-day peak is 1,000 something, 1,000 units of something, then over a long-term duration, I would guess that your actual biggest peak ever is going to be around 3,000. And I've seen this in 2 places. I saw this at a PC manufacturer that they had a big day or a big month, and their peak was 3 times their average or 3 times their normal peak. And I also saw this at a great big investment brokerage firm. There have been 2 Black Friday type events in my sort of adulthood. One of them happened in 1987, was it, or 8? October 8, something, 1987. I think it was like October 13th.
Was that Oracle stock?
That was, no, that Black Friday was in 1990 or 91. But the market crashed in October of I believe it was 1997. And then there was another one a few years back.